Hello. I know many of you have been going to these retreats, these quiet places, so that you can pray about your prayer question, your problem that has been dogging you for quite a while. And you go to these quiet places where no one will disturb you as you pray. And you probably pray for 3 days, a whole week, where you sometimes you pray and fast along. So, hoping that your prayer will be answered and will be resolved by God. And then you find that when you come out of there, your problem is still there and your prayer has not been answered. Remember, even before you pray, God already knows what you're going to ask. And remember that God sees us every day and everywhere, so God knows what our problems are. So if your prayer is not being answered, it could probably be not be the right time for it to be answered, and that maybe you need to wait, or maybe what you're asking for is not in line with the will of God. So there are three powerful prayers that every believer needs to know about. And the first one is praying for the will of God. When you do this, you are able to find out from God what God really wants from you, and maybe what you are praying for is not in line with the will of God. So in that way, when once you find that out, you're able to abandon it and do what is in line with God's purpose. The second kind of powerful prayer is praying for the establishment of the kingdom of God here on earth. Here, as a believer, you are required to be praying often for God to establish His kingdom here on earth, because as we all know, the world which we are living in now is passing away, and one day it will be no more, it will be destroyed to pave way for the establishment of the kingdom of God. Now, the third powerful prayer is intercession prayers. This is where you as a believer, you pray for other people, whether they are believers or not. You pray for others. You can pray for your neighbor. You can pray for your workmate, your colleague at work. You can pray for your relatives. You can pray for your children. You can pray for your country. You can pray for anything, everyone and everything else but yourself. Because when you do this is pleasing to God, because you have put others ahead of yourself. Now, when you pray intercession prayers, it doesn't mean that you no longer have problems, or that you must wait until you stop having problems so that you can pray for others. No. Problems are usually there with us, probably until we depart from this world. So you put aside your problems from your mind and you pray for other people. You put them ahead of yourself. When you do this, you will find that these are very powerful prayers. Not only will God answer your prayers for that person or for that other situation that you're praying for, but also God will also answer your prayer which you have been praying for quite a while, and which you have put aside to pray for somebody else. So it's very important to pray for others. Intercession prayers are not something new. Even in the Bible, in the Old Testament, specifically in the book of Exodus, chapter 32, we see a situation where Moses had to pray for the Israelites. What had happened here is that Moses had been called by God to go up to Mount Sinai for 40 days, where he went there for 40 days and 40 nights, spent 40 days and 40 nights there without eating or drinking anything. So it is God who sustained him by God's supernatural power, and he was able to keep him alive for those 40 days and 40 nights. And while he was there, he was waiting for God to put the commandments on the stone tablets and bring them back to the Israelites. So as Moses was there, God told him to go down the mountain, because the Israelites had built a golden calf which they were worshipping as an idol. God was very angry with this action of the Israelites, and he even told Moses that he was going to destroy the Israelites. But Moses pleaded on their behalf and prayed and asked God not to spare them and not to destroy them, and to forgive them, which God had Moses' prayer, and he spared the Israelites. So you can see here that Moses' prayer was very important. He interceded on behalf of the Israelites, and as a result, God spared their lives. So do not overlook this kind of prayers, and do not always be preoccupied with your situation or your problems. Think about others also who are suffering or going through a hard time. Think about your neighbor there who's probably going through separation, which might lead to divorce, and pray for them. Pray for them, and you might find that also your prayer has been answered in the end result, as their prayer is also answered. Bye.